All right, we'll go ahead and call the March 5th, 2024 Winter Haven Planning Commission meeting to order. Jordan, if you would, please take roll.
David Lane.
Here.
Mario Manigo. Elizabeth Davis.
Here.
Jennifer Fasking.
Here.
Wendy Venters.
Here.
Colin Wells.
Here.
Ed Smith.
Here.
Tina Summerlin. And Craig Fuller.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right, if you would, please stand for the invocation and pledge. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for the city of Winter Haven and all her residents. We ask that you be with us and guide us. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Commissioners had a chance to review the minutes of the previous meeting. If so, we'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second. All right, second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, minutes are approved. Okay, I'll run into a brief explanation of how the hearing will run. Cases will be read into the record, and city staff will provide a presentation. Commissioners will be able to ask questions of staff. Once they've had an opportunity to do that, we will close the planning portion of the hearing and open the public portion of the hearing. Anyone wishing to speak for or against a case, starting with the applicant, may do so, and we ask that you limit your comments to 5 minutes. Once everybody from the public has had an opportunity to speak, we will close the public portion of the hearing and reopen the planning portion of the hearing. Commissioners can ask additional questions or we'll entertain a motion and a vote. If anybody here thinks that you may speak for or against a case, if you would please stand up and Jordan will swear you in.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case shall be the truth?
All right, moving right into new business. Case number P-24-01-S, request by Sayo Clark for special use approval for a child care facility located in the mixed-use MX zoning district, general location 399 6th Street Southeast. The area covered by this request is .29 plus or minus acres.
Thank you. Heather Reuter, Senior Planner for the record. As you look here, this is the zoning map. The subject property is in the hatched designation there. It is zoned MX, mixed use, as are the adjacent properties to the east across 6th Street and south as you go along for the frontage. Immediately to the north, there is some commercial neighborhood and there is single-family residential to the west. As you look at the aerial, you can see it is a commercial property, a previous single-family home that's been converted and been used as an office for some years, and the petitioner is proposing for a daycare. Also, I'd like to point out on the map to the northeast across the road, there is another daycare that did receive special use approval that is also located in the MX zoning district. This is a view looking at the subject property. Another view looking back at the subject property and some of the ancillary parking areas. As you look to the north along 6th Street, Kane Snowballs is immediately to the north, as well as Dennison Stadium and Brigham Academy. As you look to the east, there's single-family residential. To the south, there's a mixture of single-family, multifamily, and there's, as you go more south, there would be commercial as well as the high school. And as you look to the west, this is the driveway on the rear of the property, and there is a wall that separates from the single family. Sayo Clark is the petitioner and requests the Planning Commission grant special approval to operate a child care facility in the mixed-use zoning district. The property subject to this request consists of .29 plus or minus acres and contains a 1,712 square foot commercial building with associated parking, which was constructed in 1940. The most recent use of the property was an office. The petitioner wishes to lease the space for a child care facility with approximately 3 employees. Parking will be provided on site with access from 6th Street Southeast and Avenue D Southeast. As this is considered a change in use, a site plan review will be required to address adequate parking, landscape buffers, and other code requirements. A child care facility with 3 employees can be expected to generate approximately 16 peak hour trips onto the surrounding roadway network. Based on this low volume of trips, the adjacent roadway can accommodate these trips as it is operating at less than capacity. Staff recommends that you approve this request, subject to the following condition. A site plan shall be submitted and approved, and all required improvements shall be made prior to the occupancy and operation of the child care facility. And this is the conceptual plan that was provided by the applicant. I stand for any questions you may have.
Will the area be fenced off?
That is not determined at this time. There's not a requirement for fencing off the entire property. As part of the buffer adjacent to the single family, there is a fence, but there already is a wall there that would be required as part of the buffer. I'm sure then if there's any requirements of the state through DCF permitting for any of the locations to children they would address those, but that's not something the city regulates.
Okay, thank you.
Any additional questions? All right, we'll close the planning portion of the hearing and open the public portion of the hearing. If anybody wishes to speak for or against this case, starting with the applicant, you can do so now. No? All right, seeing none, we will close the public portion of the hearing and reopen the planning portion of the hearing. Any additional questions, or we'll entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve case number P-23-01-S, request by Sao Clark for special use approval for a child care facility located in the mixed-use MX zoning district, general location 399 6th Street Southeast. The area covered by this request is .29 plus minus acres.
I'll second that.
All right. As presented in the fact sheet with conditions, correct?
As presented in the fact sheet.
With the conditions.
Conditions.
Okay, subject to the conditions. Okay. And we have a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right. Case is approved. Moving on, case number P-24-2-S, request by Church of the Redeemer of Winter Haven, Inc. for special use approval to allow the construction of a new fellowship hall and expand the existing sanctuary building located in the single-family residential large lot R1 zoning district. General location, 1410 Dundee Road. The area covered by this request is 4.47 plus or minus acres.
Good evening, Commissioners. Chris Young, Senior Planner for the record. It's been a while since I presented before you, so it's good to see you all again. So here we can see the zoning map. The parcel in question is outlined in red. Dundee Road is to the north. You can tell by the legend at the lower right-hand corner that it is a single-family large lots, or the R1. Immediately to the east is still single-family R1. Immediately to the west, the yellow, and to the north is R2. And to the shaded kind of maroon to the northeast is public institutional. That is Lake Albert Elementary. Here we can see the aerial imagery of the existing church that's been on place for many, many decades. We see the school to the northeast again and the single-family residential nature around it. Here's looking at the property itself. What you're looking at is the existing fellowship hall. The sanctuary is to the west. That is odd. Oh, maybe it's just slow loading.
This is the aerial, correct?
No, this is should be looking to the east. I do apologize. Okay. Well, let's just keep going. This is looking to the north. This is a single-family residence immediately across the street, across Dundee. Okay, so none of the aerial imagery made it into the slide. I do apologize. What you're looking at is the conceptual plan that was provided. In the gray, the kind of gray area here, and I'll kind of point it out if I can. In front of you, you can see it. It's the proposed expansion of the fellowship hall immediately to the east of the existing fellowship hall and the existing sanctuary building with the addition. The Church of the Redeemer of Winter Haven, Inc. The petitioner requests the Planning Commission grant special use approval for the expansion of an existing religious facility in the single-family residential large lot R1 zoning district. The subject property, totaling 4.47 acres, located at 1410 Dundee Road. The petitioner proposes to construct a new 7,342 square foot fellowship hall and expand the existing sanctuary by 220 seats for a new seating capacity of 600. The property currently houses a 4,620 square foot sanctuary building and a 9,040 square foot multi-purpose building with associated parking areas. Currently, it has a seating capacity for 380 and with 114 on-site parking spaces consisting of 8 ADA paved spaces and unapproved grass parking areas. The new seating capacity will require a total of 180 on-site parking spaces. The church is proposing to provide 211 parking spaces, 8 paved and 203 unapproved grass parking area. The building will be utilized by the parishioners and staff for the meeting during normal hours between 8:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. Monday through Thursday, and 8:30 a.m. to noon, Friday and Sunday. The expansion is expected to generate 109 additional peak hour vehicle trips during operation. Staff recommends approval of this request subject to the following condition. A site plan shall be submitted and approved, and all required improvements shall be made prior to the occupancy.
Okay.
And I stand for any questions you may have.
Thank you, Chris. Anybody have any questions? No? All right, we will close the planning portion of the hearing and open the public portion. Anybody from the public wishing to speak for or against this case? All right. If you would, please state your name and address for the record.
My name is Alan Taylor. I live at 170 East Lake Elbert Drive, and I'm around the corner. I'm in the single-family residences on Lake Elbert Drive, and this project, I think, is far too big for that, for the space they're trying to put in it. The parking on that particular area of the road running into Winter Haven has seen innumerable accidents, and we have a pull-off now for people to turn right and go on to Lake Elbert Drive. I think they're trying to do far too much in that area. It should be cut down maybe half size. That's my honest opinion. I thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Anyone else? No? All right, we will close the public portion of the hearing and reopen the planning portion of the hearing. Any additional questions from commissioners?
What's happened?
No? All right, I will make a motion to approve case number P-24-2-S, request by Church of the Redeemer of Winter Haven, Inc. for special use approval to allow the construction of a new fellowship hall and expand the existing sanctuary building located in the single-family residential large lot R1 zoning district. General location, 1410 Dundee Road. The area covered by this request is 4.47 plus or minus acres, with the conditions suggested by staff and as presented in the fact sheet.
Second.
All right, we have a second. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. Okay, moving on. Case number P-24-16, administrative request to rezone 115 parcels from single-family residential small lot R2 zoning district to single-family residential large lot R1 zoning district. General location, the Wood Point Phase 1 and Phase 2 subdivisions, generally located east of Lake Daisy Road and northeast of Lake Daisy. The area covered by this request is 41.9 plus or minus acres.
Good evening, Chris Young for the record. So here we can see the parcel or the Wood Point Phase 1 and Phase 2 subdivisions outlined in red, just northeast of Lake Daisy. Excuse me, this was the future land use map showing the residential suburban nature. Here we can see the existing zoning map. This portion that's kind of lighter in color immediately north of the section that's outlined in red, that is already zoned R1. So the only thing that we will be affecting is the darker zoning, which is the R2 zoning. So here's the aerial map of the existing subdivisions. That is really weird. Okay. So staff requests the city rezone 115 parcels from single-family residential small lot R2 zoning district to single-family residential large lot zoning district. The subject parcels are contained on approximately 41.9 plus minus acres and consist of the Wood Point Phase 1 and Phase 2 subdivisions, generally located east of Lake Daisy, east of Lake Daisy Road, northeast of Lake Daisy. The Wood Point Phase 1 was approved and developed under Polk County's land development requirements in 1999, and the Wood Point Phase 2 was approved and developed under the city's land development requirements in 2004. Currently, there are 6 vacant lots remaining in these 2 subdivisions. Wood Point Phase 1 and Phase 2 lots range in area between 9,000 and 12,000 square feet, which exceed the minimum dimensional requirements of the R2 zoning district and the requested R1 zoning districts. Homes within the subdivisions are larger than was typically found within the R2 zoning district and often exceed the minimum and maximum building setback requirements of that zoning district. The subdivision's existing homes are more characteristic of the R1 zoning district. A letter of support was in favor of the zoning change was received for the Wood Point Homeowners Association. Staff's recommendation is approval of this request, and it's forwarding to the City Commission for final action.
So is this just to accommodate the leftover lots, like for building houses?
Yes, and to kind of make it more inclined with the R1 zoning district. There are no changes that are proposed in terms of density. There is nothing proposed that would really affect the development within the subdivision other than make it more inclined with the larger R1 zoning district.
And it doesn't in any way, shape, or form change existing residents,
Actually, I was going to add, it will probably help the existing residences.
Okay.
Right now, R2 has maximum setback provisions, R1 does not, and it's likely many of the houses in there today probably do not meet the maximum setback requirement. They're probably set back too far, so this would actually probably bring several of them into compliance with the code.
I have a question, and maybe it just pertains to the applicability and changing it, because it seems they're 9 to 12,000 square feet, right? And I thought R1 had to be minimum 10,000 square feet.
75.
Okay, so it's listed, because it could have changed, but it's listed on all of the tables as 10,000. Or I should say all the maps, all of your maps indicate minimum 10,000.
Yeah, that's old nomenclature. that
Exactly, and
never
I
got
thought it used to.
The
and
GIS.
that's- Okay.
I don't know why that is doing that.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I do apologize.
No, it's okay.
Yes, the R1 zoning district, the minimum lot size of square footage is 7,500 square feet.
I know there's been a continual, everything smaller, and this is now kind of the larger size of those, so it makes sense. I just didn't want to make it something I was like, whoa, we're doing this again, where you change things and then the
Even
code
if it
changed.
was still in place, we would
Okay.
still be making them more conforming
Right.
by going to R1.
You'd have like 2 exclusions or something like that, because there's not a lot of them. So, okay, thanks.
Any additional questions? All right, we'll close the planning portion of the hearing and open the public portion. Anybody from the public wishing to speak for or against? All right, we will close the public portion and reopen the planning portion of the hearing.
I'll make a motion to approve case number P-24-16, administrative request to rezone 115 parcels from single-family residential small lot R2 zoning district to single-family residential large lot R1 zoning district. General location, the Wood Point Phase 1 and Phase 2 subdivisions generally located east of Lake Daisy Road and northeast of Lake Daisy. The area covered by this request is 41.9 plus or minus acres as presented in the fact sheet.
Second.
All right, we have a second. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, case is approved. Moving on, case number P-24-17, administrative request to rezone 41 parcels and a portion of another parcel from single-family residential small lot R2 zoning district to single-family residential large lot R1 zoning district. General location, the Cypress Wood Palmacia subdivision, generally located west of Palmacia Road, approximately 400 feet west of Sand Hill Lane. The area covered by this request is 24.4 plus or minus acres.
Good evening, Chris Young for the record. Here's the future land use map, so we can see the zoning, the land use on the property. Immediately to the east is the Cypress Wood Golf subdivision. To the west, we have vacant pasture land, but is also with the residential medium. Here we can see the current zoning on the property, which is R2. We see a little bit of conservation to the northwest, and to the east, we see the Cypress Wood Golf subdivision, which is currently located in the county. The Palmacia subdivision is outlined in red. Here we can see the aerial of the subdivision. You can see that there are only a few lots remaining in it. To the west, we have the large open pasture land. To the east, we have the golf course subdivision. And since there's a trifecta of imagery that's missing, just so everybody knows, if anybody from the public would like to see, I do have handouts. You can actually look at the imagery. Please come see me afterwards. Staff requests the city rezone 41 parcels on a portion of another parcel from single-family residential small lot, R2 zoning district, to single-family residential large lot, R1. The subjects are contained on 24.4 acres and are located in the Cypress Wood Palmacia subdivision. 5 lots remain undeveloped in the subdivision. Platted in 2003, the subdivision contains 41 lots, averaging 15,000 square feet in area. The size of these lots exceeds the minimal dimensional requirements found in the R2 zoning district and the requested R1 zoning district home. Homes within the subdivision are larger than what is typically found within the R2 zoning district and often exceed the minimum maximum building setback requirements of that district. The subdivision's existing homes are more characteristic of the R1 zoning district. A letter of support in favor of the zoning change was received from the Cypress Wood Palmacia Homeowners Association. Recommendation is approval for this request, and it's forwarding to the City Commission for final action. I stand for any questions you may have.
Any questions? Okay. We will close the planning portion of the hearing and open the public portion. Anybody from the public wishing to speak for or against? If you would, please stand and Jordan will swear you in. And state your name and address for the record, please.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give in this case shall be the truth?
I do. It's not an opposition, it's just maybe just clerical and it may not be important, but it cites that there's actually 41 lots there. There are actually 39 residential lots. The other 2 lots are retention ponds. So I don't know if that makes any difference, but frankly, we were all surprised that this was not R1 a long time ago.
And can I have you state your name and address for the record?
My apologies. Robert Dodd, 4038 Palmacia Circle, Winter Haven.
Thank you, sir.
I'll just clarify, since there are private streets in here and the retention ponds privately owned property, we have to assign zoning. They're zoned as well.
Right.
That's why there's technically 41 parcels in this request.
They're still parcels.
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
Okay. Understood. Okay. Anybody else from the public? Okay. We will close the public portion of the hearing and reopen the planning portion of the hearing.
I'd like to make a motion in favor of case number P-24-17, administrative request to rezone 41 parcels and a portion of another parcel from single-family residential small lot R2 zoning district to single-family residential large lot R1 zoning district. General location, the Cypress Wood Palmacia subdivision, generally located west of Palmacia Road, approximately 400 feet west of Sand Hill Lane. Area covered by the request is 24.4 more or less acres, as presented in the fact sheet and by staff.
Second.
All right, we have a second. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. All opposed, same sign. All right, case is approved. Other business, comments from staff.
Okay, I will go over a few things here. Mostly what we did on our February meeting. The items are all moving forward to the City Commission during the month of March, and those included the update to our fence requirements, some changes to the MX zoning district to allow pharmacies as special use, and then finally a small future land use and zoning assignment for a parcel off Old Bartow Lake Wells Road. So those will all be moving forward this month and should all reach conclusion by the end of the month. Next thing I want to do is I want to welcome our new liaison, Commissioner Dollison, who is down at the table, and he is
Welcome.
here. And
Finally got here.
and I think I want to say he's come full circle. So, and then last, I just want to remind you, your next meeting is Tuesday, April 2nd.
Comments from planning commissioners?
I have a question about revising the 10-year plan. Has any consideration been given to the area where the Winter Haven Regional Airport is? Because we're looking at significant growth at the airport, and I'm just wondering whether any of that surrounding area may have come under consideration.
Well, I'm going to be honest, a lot of the land that surrounds the airport, frankly, is in another jurisdiction, be it Polk County, City of Auburndale, or City of Lake Alfred. I do know that what is in the City of Winter Haven, we do have policies in the comprehensive plan that address the airport and its surrounding airspace. So we've done what we can do to protect the airport and its purpose, but we're somewhat at the mercy of some of the other jurisdictions as well. So.
Okay, but nothing has come up yet from the other jurisdictions so far.
There has been one item that we were actively engaged with the City of Lake Alfred on a development that we had them include some conditions in a PUD that went forward. To my knowledge, that project has never moved forward. The land's still vacant, but we required them to do an navigation easement that basically indicates that the residents are to acknowledge the presence of the airport and low-flying aircraft.
So thank you.
All right. Any additional comments? No? Comments from the public? Anybody? All right, seeing none, we are adjourned.